Let me ask you a simple question. Did this driver break the law? Well, of course he did. But how do we know? It's because of the line markings on the road.
We all have to memorize them for our TP test. But how many of you guys can still remember what each road marking represents? Welcome to Auto Driven, and today we will be taking a look at the different road markings in Singapore and which ones you have to look out for. But before we begin, do remember to subscribe if you haven't already and click on the bell icon. Let's start with the basics. The single broken white line. These are used to mark different lanes on the road, and drivers are able to cross them without any issue. Even so, I'm sure all of us have come across a driver who for some reason likes to drive on these lines and take up 2 lanes on the road for no reason at all. Now this is your typical single white stop line, and by right, drivers are supposed to stop and assess the traffic situation before moving off. And similar to broken white lines, continuous white lines are meant to mark different lanes on a 2-way road, and drivers are able to overtake when necessary. Like for example, you've been stuck behind that bus for so long and you want to overtake to go faster. But parking is not allowed on either side of the road at all times with this marking. So next time you want to park your bike or car at the side of the road, you better make sure that you have the proper road marking. If not, you may accidentally get fined. Now this is a road marking where most Beitiao or SG Reckless Drivers videos will pauto drivers. The double continuous white line. Apart from not being able to park on either side, drivers are also unable to cross this marking at all times. Like that driver just now. This line actually helps to separate traffic flowing in different directions, or to prevent drivers from making certain turns. So, if you ever catch someone doing so, they may be liable to up to a $200 fine and 4 demerit points. Now, roads marked with this continuous single yellow line indicate that you can pick up and drop off passengers, but parking is not allowed on this side of the road between 7 AM and 7 PM on all days, except Sundays and public holidays. Today is not a Sunday nor a public holiday, so if you ever catch someone who is parking within these restricted timings, they may be liable to a fine of up to $150. Now, the single continuous yellow line does have a sibling, and the crucial difference between the two is the addition of one extra line, giving you the double continuous yellow lines. I mean, this is a bit faded but you get the idea. The biggest difference between the two is that parking and waiting is not allowed on this side of the road with double continuous yellow lines at all times, except for the immediate picking up and letting down of passengers. Again, drivers who do not follow this may be subjected to a fine of up to $150. Zigzag lines are less common, but they are more strict. Single yellow zigzag lines like these means that you cannot park at all on this side of the road at all times, except for the immediate picking up or letting down of passengers. Confusing, right? This is basically the same as your double continuous yellow lines. Worse still, if you come across these double yellow zigzag lines, you are not able to stop your car at all. These are usually placed in areas where the roads need to be clear at all times. Drivers who do not obey this will be subjected to 3 demerit points and up to a $300 fine. Not to be confused with yellow zigzag lines, these white zigzags are meant to represent that there is a pedestrian crossing up ahead. Drivers are not allowed to overtake, park, or wait within these areas, and pedestrians are technically not allowed to cross the roads at these areas as well. Although, strangely, this happens quite a lot. Drivers who are caught parking or waiting within these areas may be subjected to up to 3 demerit points and a $200 fine. These shape road markings, also known as traffic calming markings, are painted to encourage drivers to slow down when driving, as they create a visually narrowed road. These are usually found in places like school zones or silver zones. Most of us will be familiar with these bus lanes. Normal bus lanes are denoted by a thick continuous yellow line or broken yellow line as seen in this video. Drivers are not allowed to drive or park in these bus lanes between the hours of 7:30 to 9:30 AM and 5 to 8 PM between Mondays to Fridays. These rules do not apply on Saturdays, Sundays and public holidays. When the line changes to a broken yellow line like the one shown in this video, drivers are then able to come into the bus lane in order to turn into a car park or change into another junction, for example. usually found in town areas, these full-day bus lanes like the one shown in this video are marked by an additional red line and are even more strict than normal bus lanes. Drivers are not allowed to park or drive within these areas between the hours of 7:30 AM to 11 PM from Mondays to Saturdays. The only exceptions are Sundays and public holidays. So, if you are caught driving in one of these bus lanes during these restricted timings, you will be liable to a fine of up to $130. Failure to pay this fine may result in a bigger fine of up to $1,000 or even 3 months imprisonment. So bro, I'm sure everyone knows what this is, but some drivers are still either deliberately ignoring it or are just damn blur about it, and that is the yellow box. The yellow box is actually meant to help drivers ease into traffic from a smaller road. But some drivers just deliberately don't care and they occupy the yellow box for no reason, not allowing these drivers to come out. So next time you are one of these drivers, please give way to other people and clear the yellow box. Because if you don't, you are actually liable to a fine of up to $150. Road markings can be confusing at first, but the more time you spend on the roads, the easier they are to remember. Personally, I'm also sometimes sad when people ask me what's the fine for this particular road marking, for example. But this information is good to know, and it can prevent you from being accidentally fined if you park in a restricted zone, for example. Still not sure? Just Google. Hope you learned something new today. Do remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you again on Auto Driven.
Motorist.